Welcome to the Multiverse, my friends. What's going on, my DC friends, and welcome back to another episode of Subjective Reviews. Right off the bat, let's talk about Ezra Miller being in the CW Flash crossover event, Infinite Earths, Crisis of Infinite Earths. Now, when I recorded my video Wednesday, literally I was editing the video and then all that stuff went down, so that's why I wasn't in my Wednesday video. But gonna do it now for this video. If you haven't seen, you probably have because it's been all over the internet. Ezra Miller's Flash was in the CW Flash episode, right? Now, at first I was like, what the hell is going on? And if you don't follow my boy Jeffrey Warfield, you need to follow him on YouTube. He made a whole video about this, like talking about the Snydercut and how this CW crossover event could be the answer because of the multiverse and all that. But Ezra Miller's Flash shows up, and it was like, oh my god, like, this is awesome, like, it's just crazy, like, what? Like, you're just mind-blown, you're mind-blown. So, here's the thing. This is huge, and I will tell you why. For one, this could just be simply them trying to show you guys that Ezra Miller is still the Flash and still trying to, like, promote his movie that's not coming out for a couple of years, but, you know, I guess just to get a jump on that. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it has everything to do with the Snydercut, because it shows us that there's a multiverse. It shows us that they can have any character in any show, in any movie, because they can just play with the universes. Because this is DC. Welcome to DC. They have the multiverse, so they could easily do this, and they just did it with the Flash showing up, Ezra Miller's Flash showing up in the CW crossover event. I think that's what's happening. This is Warner Brothers showing us, the Snydercut fans, that it's coming, it's happening. Ezra Miller, the Snydercut, it's going down. And then we get further details later on about the whole situation, the whole story. Then you find out that, because you just don't know, maybe the people that were behind the CW show went to Warner Brothers and were like, hey, can we put Ezra Miller in the show? And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever. You just don't know. Then you find out that no, WB made this happen. WB got in contact with the CW, and, well, not with the CW, they got in contact with whoever was running the show and everything, and said, hey, can we want to add Ezra Miller into the show? And they're like, of course, like, if you guys want that to happen, we'll make it happen some way, somehow. Of course we'll do that, right? No problem. Then you find out more details that Jim Lee, the great comic book writer Jim Lee himself, the great comic book artist Jim Lee, he was kind of the middleman between this. He was the one that was like going back and forth between the two peeps who were going to make this happen. And, you know, of course, Jim Lee was all on board. So it's just awesome. Again, another great positive sign for the Snydercut movement, that now they, you know, as far as things being canon, things not being canon, continuity, it doesn't matter. It's the multiverse. You know, you could say that the Justice League was the Earth 1 and Zack Snyder's Justice League is the Earth 2. Anything is possible. You can do anything you want. So just the fact that this happened is awesome. Today I was listening to the Go Deep podcast, Mr. West Ashley, and he had Sean O'Connell on the podcast. Love Sean. You're not familiar with him. He's from Cinema Blend, and, you know, maybe 6 months ago, he all of a sudden is like, you know, on Team Snyder, and he wants this cut released. When before, he, I guess, didn't really care as much or didn't really think anything of it, but now he's all on board, and we love to have him part of this movement. He was on the Go Deep podcast. Great podcast. Definitely check it out. But something that stuck with me was that he was at the set visit of Justice League when it was getting made with Zack and everything. But that's not what he talks about. He talks about going to the set visit of Army of the Dead, where he most recently saw Zack. He's going through how he showed Zack, you know, what was going on with the movement, and Zack was like well aware. He knows what's going on. It's not just like, oh really, that's cool. Like, no, he knows. And I've said this before. Zack knows what we're doing. Every step we take, he's there. He's behind it. He knows what's going on. He's not missing a beat. Okay, 100% he knows what's going on. He expected Zack to say, you know what, I really appreciate the people behind the movement and all this stuff, and I love my fans and everything, but I just hope that they start to move on, because it's not going to happen. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to move on with my newer projects, and just kind of forget about that and just move on. And he said that's not the vibe that he got from Zack. Instead, the vibe that he got from him was just like the complete opposite. It was like, I'm loving this. I'm loving the movement. They just need to keep on pushing. We need to keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, and don't stop. Never give up. And that was just like, boom, like coming from the man himself. And we know this. Zack's always telling us. He keeps on feeding us these images. If he wanted us to move on, he wouldn't be doing half the stuff that he's doing. So we know that. We understand that. But just to hear it from Sean O'Connell saying that this, he got this vibe from Zack right to his face, like that just speaks volumes of how far we've come in this movement and how we're going to get the Snyder Cut. And then he was also talking about how, just imagine like all the work that we've put in when we're finally sitting in the movie theater all together as one, and we finally get to see this movie, how it's going to be like the greatest movie-going experience we've ever had. And it's going to be. And that's why I want a SnyderCon 2 for them to release the cut to the SnyderCon peeps. I mean, that would just be like incredible. But at the same time, they need to release it to everyone. They need to release it to everyone, and I just cannot wait to be in that movie theater surrounded by Snyder Cut fans or Snyder fans, and just be like in awe of what we're about to see, what we fought for. Like, we fought for this movie. We haven't fought for any other movie. We fought for this movie. And it's just going to be so satisfying to finally see what we fought so hard for. But anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe because it helps me, and in return, I can help you. And as always, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, new content's coming to you from Subjective Reviews. And thank you for watching.